Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. I am here for my week 20 update, and I want to go ahead and hop right into it because it was a good one. You guys know last week I did mention to you that I was trying to lose 5 pounds over the next 2 weeks to end the month, so that way I get out of the 260s. And I got to tell you, week 20 did not disappoint. Week 20 did not disappoint. I actually ended the week losing 3 pounds. 3 pounds. So I basically superseded my goal. So, I'm a man of my word. If I usually give my word, I keep it with everyone. And I like to do the same with myself. My challenge was to lose 2.5 pounds over the next each week for the next 2 weeks, to in an effort to be down 5 pounds to get me out of those 60s into the 50s. So just an amazing start. Being down 3 pounds even kind of shocked me. With me just getting back into the groove of really working out. I did have 2 really good workouts. I did resistance training. It rained a lot here in the Northeast, so we basically weren't able to do, the walking like I typically like to do. So that would be my plan this week. This week, my plan is to get out and do a lot more walking. So I want to try to match that progress that I had this week. Crazy enough, when I had those kind of down weeks, I end up, actually probably, and when I say a down week, I mean like when I lose just like 1 pound, even though I shouldn't say just, because it can be difficult to lose a pound for some. So, but typically I average around a little more than 2 pounds a week throughout my journey. So that's what I mean when I say that. So this was, an amazing week due to the weight loss. And with me, not really getting to do the walking like I generally do. So, that's why I say that, this was that was a big deal, to be able to lose 3 pounds and just doing resistance training, for a couple of days and no true walking. I did eat right. My nutrition was proper throughout the week. So I think that was what I could attribute, to it more so than movement, even though I did have a, good deal of movement, but, not as much as usual. So, like I said, my plan this week is to get back to that. I want to get back to the walking, like I said, so that way I can, kind of stay on course with my weight loss and achieve my goal. Because, like I said, this past the past week that I wanted to lose 5 pounds, and we're on track. And other big news, I started my 10 milligrams. So I took that as a Round Mountain, a Zepbound. My man Charles over there, he on the Round Mountain channel call it Big Boy, Mac 10. So I took it today, took it this morning. Usually if I do feel anything, or if I get any slight fatigue or the fullness, it's usually the next day for my shot. It's the following day, because I actually went and had a good time this weekend. I went to one of my cousin's wedding. My cousin's daughter, actually. So she got married, and beautiful wedding, and had a good time. Ate, danced, just had an amazing time. And then today, I went and, me and my wife went to the movies, see Final Destination, and I kind of had snacks there. And then after we got my kids, we grabbed my daughter from work, and we went to a fun place up here called Tilted 10. And, kids had a, great time there, especially the 6-year-old, she was pretty elated that she was able to go multiple places, because she loves to go to multiple places once she gets out, because we went from the fun center straight to Nifty 50s, and they had burgers and fries and shakes. So, just a really good weekend. Tomorrow's Memorial Day, so I plan to just kind of rest and, enjoy it. But, my numbers this week, like I said, were amazing. To end week 20 being down 18% of my body weight and, 3 pounds, bringing me to 261.6, which is a total loss from baseline starting body weight, exactly 58 pounds. So 58 pounds in 20 weeks, that ain't nothing to sneeze at, I think that's absolutely amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And, shout out to Eli Lilly for giving us such an amazing tool to, get where we want to be. So I'm very excited for the journey thus far and to continue, moving in a positive direction. I got some blood work coming up this Thursday, so I'll be very anxious and to hear back. Once I get that blood work done, just to see some of those laboratory changes, because realistically, obviously, that's what we do this for. Not vanity. Not just for looks. I mean, obviously, that's a part of it, but it definitely is about that lab work. That is really what it's about. So I'll be interested to see that. And my primary was saying she's very interested to see it as well. So, my wife said that she could really see me slimming down, so, and then several people at the wedding, same thing. I took some pictures. So if you want to see some pictures, I did post a couple, so you can go over and look at my post and check out some of the latest pictures, because they could really kind of see it, So I guess when you lose almost 60 pounds, you probably should see it, But, we're still working towards that 100-pound goal. We still got, 42 more pounds to go to get to my first goal, of 220. Ultimate, probably 52, because, you in maintenance, what I'm learning just from seeing everybody that's in that, you need that 5 or 10 pound kind of like, leeway, for any fluctuation to kind of stay where you want to. And my whole reasoning for that is I want to be out of the obese category. I like to go to the doctor and not see obesity, Overweight is okay. I always say it because I truly do believe that it's okay. You know what I mean? That's not detrimental, because, if you're looking at BMI, and like I said, we all know that system is not catered towards everybody. That was a specific person, specific person, specific body type, white males, that was kind of like designed for. So when you know that history, BMI is not the best thing to utilize, but it can give you an idea. So that's why I say, I think that, that range would be, probably be very good for me. Because my for BMI, for a healthy weight on the actual BMI chart as is, I would have to get down to like 183 pounds, and that's not something that, I'm interested in. I don't want to be 183, but 210, 220, perfect. I think that's perfect. So that's what we're striving for, so there's that. In other news, I do want to talk about the thing that we have within, I don't even want to say within the community, but some of the creators online that, try to get you to kind of like follow them or I don't want to say be on their side, but kind of side with them with the microdosing thing. Sort of kind of like, I feel like, make people guilty about titrating up, where they need to be. Like I said, I went with the 10 because I just, I felt like it was, along with my provider, I felt like it was time, because we want to maximize the weight loss and we can always go down. I saw Didi over there on Downsize Diva, kind of like mulling over, the going up or titrating up to kind of get to her goal, and kind of more so based on food noise. And I told her, I said, hey, if that food noise gets too loud, you go right ahead and titrate up. You know why? Because you can always titrate down. Going up doesn't mean that you have to stay there. You know what I mean? But you got to go where you got to go to get what it is that you need out of the process, So I'm all about utilizing the tool, 100%. The tool is here for us to use. So nobody should feel guilty about using the tool as far as they need to use it. You go as far as you need to go to get what you need to get out of what the medication was created to do. So don't feel any shame or blame when it comes to titrating up, because if you feel the need, you should do so, and stop allowing people, and I'm not saying that's what she did, but never allow people to make you feel bad about titrating up and utilizing the medication as what it was intended for. I do see, these certain doctors talking about like breaking down, specific blood work to, fight imbalances. And that would, kind of avoid us having to, titrate up, where it is that we're titrating up to. But, I kind of take that with a grain of salt. Yes, I do feel like there are some other hormone therapies that can help somewhat, so to speak. But I also think that a lot of those content creators and those docs are realistically dealing with patients of a certain type. Usually middle-aged, women who are, are not, I want to say, not diverse, So a lot of that is catered towards them. So you got to be really careful at, just taking a one size fits all approach, because that doesn't fit everybody. Some of us have to use this tool as far as it possibly goes, and it's been deemed safe. So we should be fine to do such and not feel bad about it. Now, if you can figure out how to, utilize, some other therapies and not necessarily titrate up, still lose weight, great. But if you have to do what you got to do, then do what you got to do, because that's why you got on this journey. You got on a journey to titrate up and do what it is that, it is that you need to do to lose the weight, because that's the first step. Losing the weight is not the end all be all. It's not, it doesn't equate to total health, but it's a darn good start. It's a darn good start. And it is shown with the higher the percentage, the more the lab work changes. And if you go over and check out Dr. Dan's channel, he has a video kind of breaking that down, where you see the higher percentages of weight loss kind of, change that lab work more and more. So we can't say that losing a ton of weight, is not as meaningful, because it's extremely meaningful. You need to lose the weight first. It's the same thing with the muscle loss and the other fear mongering that goes on online. Listen, if you're over 300 pounds, like some people, you know what? You can stand to lose a little bit of everything, in my opinion. So I'm not sure, and it's not medical advice because I'm not a physician, but I'm just saying, you have it to lose it, do so. We're not talking about frailty. We ain't talking about frailty, being underweight. So if you lose a little, so be it. You can go ahead and build that muscle back up, and I'm not talking about somebody that's, 150 pounds and we want them to lose, 70 pounds. This is not that. This is, people that are 230, 330 that, are on a journey to get healthy. So losing a little bit of muscle, is not going to, as long as you're not losing more than half, if you're losing right around that 30%, 40, even 40%, so be it. You can build it back, because that's not what's dangerous. The dangerous part of this whole thing is visceral fat, visceral fat. And honestly, the visceral fat don't go down unless the subcutaneous fat goes down. So let's get rid of as much fat as we can along with the visceral fat, and we'll build back muscle. So I would say kill all that noise about microdosing and all that. And I stayed on the lowest. Who cares? Amazing. If you can stay on 2.5 and lose everything, absolutely amazing. But guess what? If you got to titrate up and lose as much as you need to lose. That's the whole point of getting on this. You ain't get no reward for staying on 2.5 or even 5 for that matter. If you got to be on 15, you go to 15. I'm on 10 and I'm 20 weeks in, which means that by the time I'm at week 72 or week 88, I could be on 15. But guess what? It's okay with me, because as long as I got to my weight goal and my lab work looks the right way, that's what the whole journey was about. It was about getting healthy, not worrying about, bragging to people about, how low I was able to stay to get where I was going. I just don't really even understand that. If it was harmful to do so, we probably would start seeing it. So right now I say, go where you got to go, do what you got to do to get what you need done, period. So there's that. And, finally, I just want to say, good luck to everybody that's trying to, I hope the best for everybody that's trying to, I won't say good luck, but I'd rather say, I hope the best for everybody that's trying to figure out insurance and get over on the branded side, since there's so much going on with compounded and, even the 503A Amble was sued by Novo. So, like I said, I try not to. I try to keep my videos about the current updates and weight loss, because I feel like a lot of people are at that point in the journey and not necessarily where we could talk about the news. Because I mean we can talk about the news, but they're more concerned about how it is that we are losing weight week to week. So there's a lot of people just getting started, on these medications. So I would like to, like I said, still speak to that, group to kind of give them inspiration and let them see that it's definitely possible, especially for African-American males that have that fear of starting the GLP-1s. So that's something that I felt like was important to, address for you guys, because, I just think that we have to kind of meet everybody where they are, have a little something for everybody. And that's what I'm trying to do with my channel, is kind of talk about the weight loss, a little bit of the news, and, specifics. So, yep. But basically, next week, week 21, once I recap the end of May, give you my total weight loss for the month of May, the total month of May. I'll do that next week. Tell you how I felt on my first full week of being on the 10. How it suppressed my appetite or not. I don't know. We'll see. But each dose has been pretty good for me. So I think I'm praying that it continues to be really good and successful for myself. So, and I'm going to keep on just informing you guys on what that looks like. So that way, you can see live and in the flesh, how it's working. So, like I said, that was, my week 20. Just wanted to hop on and kind of let you guys, know what that looked like. It's been a complete, like I said, success. 18% of the body weight is gone. I mean, in the Surmont 5 trial, they said that 20.2% was the average. And I'm literally just 2% away, because I'm 18.2 technically down. So I'm literally 2% away from the average that was achieved in 72 weeks. So I'll say it again. I am in just 20 weeks down 18% of my body weight, and with the medication that people are seeing 20% total loss over 72 weeks. So the drug is absolutely amazing and it works. And they are, talking about a 20 and a 25 milligram, I believe. And people that aren't, necessarily seeing this success could very well be seeing it when, that, strength is released along with retatrutide. And I think it'll be something for everybody, and that's what I pray everybody's able to get, healthy. So like I said, I'm praying that everybody is able to, first and foremost, I hope that Lilly goes ahead and drop the prices, because that trial, number one, shown that it was superior to Wegovy. So Wegovy definitely is overcharging people at $4.99. That's absolutely insane. Wegovy is only a $200 drug, not a $500 drug. It's a $199 drug, and I hope that Novo goes ahead and gets with the program. And I think that Zepbound is a $299 drug. I think it's a $200 and a $300 monthly drug. Companies do still want to make money. It's an amazing drug, and I do understand that part. We're not going to get out here with drugs at $50 and $100. But I think $200 and $300 is way more doable for most than $500. $500 is still too much, and when they drop them prices to $200 and $300, which I think is going to happen, they're not going to have any problems with earnings, because you're going to have, so much more affordability, throughout the country, and people needing, even the ones that say they don't, because there's still a lot of closet users. Don't ask me how I know, but I'll just tell you, I know for a fact. There's a lot of closet users and people that claim that they're not utilizing these wonderful treatments, but they are, they're using them, and I wish they was more loud and proud about it. And I'm not saying you got to run down the street telling everybody what you're using, but I think that it would be a good thing to be honest if someone was to ask and they're interested, because you can actually save a life with these pens. So the pens are amazing. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Just trying to, make sure I didn't forget to address anything that I wanted to address this week. I think I covered everything. If I didn't, I'll make sure and bring it back next week. When I hop on next week, I'll address anything that I might have missed. So hopefully everybody enjoys the rest of their Memorial Week. If you have off, that's amazing. I'm actually off tomorrow, so I'm going to just rest because I think it's well deserved and needed. And like I always end my videos, we're in it together. Later.